subscribe to my squad. Nice and Dutch. Nice and Dutch.
Hello, in this episode of Man Mike's Garage, we're going to change out the front struts on this 1999 Toyota Camry because it feels like you're driving on a cloud, and not in a good way. It's not good. The wind blows me around. You hit the brakes, the front really dives down. You get back on the throttle. It's not good. It feels like mush, and it's not real safe. So we're gonna see if this fixes our problem. Stay tuned and enjoy. Okay, the first thing we need to do is get our wheel cover off, which on some of these it's easier than others. This one I actually just had off not too long ago, so it's not too bad. And then something I want to get into here, I don't even know if I have to pull that off. I like to lube these up because if you've ever had one of these lug nuts galled on you, you'll know. These lug nuts are 21 millimeter. I will add a link in the description for these 1/2-inch drive impact sockets. They were on Amazon and they're pretty cheap. And you can get away with cheaper stuff when you're talking about, you know, these hardened impact sockets. The vehicle is already jacked up. I have it on jack stands. That's very important, so you don't smush your ass. That ain't no joke. You get complacent, you get underneath, you crawl underneath the vehicle like this, and you don't have a jack stand. It's not good. You're asking for trouble. So, this is definitely the original strut. So much rust on this. It's not even funny. So I checked this side already, and there's no tie rod movement at all. So we're in good shape. So I'm going to go ahead and get this caliper out of the way. I'll throw some PB Blaster on these nuts that's holding the strut in, and we're going to go from there. Okay guys, this is what you're going to need to get this job done. You'll need a screwdriver or some sort of small pry tool to get your hubcap off of your wheel. And then you will need a 21 millimeter. I use my 1/2-inch drive cobalt impact for this. It also doubles for when you go into the strut itself. The 22 is what you're going to need to take the big strut bolts off the bottom. And you also need a 22 millimeter wrench for that job as well. What we have here is I think it's a 12 millimeter. I'm double checking, yes. The 12 millimeter will get the brake line, or the brake hose, disassembled from the strut itself. And then you'll need a 14 millimeter to get the nuts off of the top of the strut underneath your hood. There's also a small, I don't know what you want to really call it, but it goes from your sway bar up to your strut, and that's what actually activates your sway bar. There's a nut on the strut itself, and it is 14 millimeters. But once you bust it loose, it just spins inside a ball and socket. So you're going to need a 5 millimeter Allen wrench to put inside this bolt when you loosen it up. So a 14 millimeter wrench and a 5 millimeter Allen wrench. And then I used a small hammer to tap the bottom of the strut loose. Once I got the bolts out, along with this pry bar. While I did this job, I went ahead and I broke both of my 8mm bleeder screws on my calipers, and I basically flushed the dirty fluid out of the system while I was doing this job. You don't have to do it, but I used, like I said, it's an 8mm. It gets the old nasty fluid out, and you can just flush it with new. Just crack the bleeders. Make sure you keep going by every couple minutes, topping off your brake reservoir or your master cylinder, and then voila, you flushed your fluid out. Okay guys, the first one we're going to go after here is this 12mm that holds this brake hose onto the strut itself. This strut that connects the sway bar to the strut itself. You're going to need to put an Allen inside this to hold it. So we'll put our wrench on here, and then we'll get our Allen head on. Probably in your guys' viewing, I'm trying to get it to where you guys can see what's going on here. Okay. We're getting into the rust on the bolt. Okay. And that is that. Gets out of the way. We'll back you up here. Get you a better view here of these two 22mm bolts. I had to juice her up to the third setting. That'll get her off. This impact is nuts. When you put it on high power, it is no joke. And there you have it. I wouldn't want to be trying to do that without having an impact, because those bolts have been on there for 25 years. So keep that in mind. So that means everything is off on the bottom. We have our hose is off, our sway bar strut is off, and we just need to go to the top and pop our 14mm bolts off. What I am going to do here quick is get in here with a bar and a hammer and separate this strut. From the spindle. There we go. It's separated. Now we're going to switch over to the 14mm on our impact here. And I'm just going to try to do this and hold you guys. This is very simple up here. I'm gonna one-hand it. That's it. Now this strut will pull right down out. You just need to provide it with the proper clearance. There she comes. Out she goes. Out with the old, in with the new. I'm going about this wrong. Here we go. Down in here, back up. There we go. Just when you think it's not gonna happen, it happens. Pops right in. And it's like, what's taking you so long? There's our two biggie boys. Here's our strut. I'll raise that up here in a minute with that all on. So I'll go ahead and start this little 12mm bolt. Not 12mm, you know. Okay. We put our jack underneath, and we got our first stud to come through. Now all we need to do is get the other two in, and if you look down in there, the studs are like right here, right where I have the punch. They're off just a little bit, so all I need to do is just push this over. There we go. See? The other two studs popped in the holes right there. And then all I need to do is give the jack a little pump, which is raising our suspension down below and also pushing our strut up into its forever home. So we put our support bracket there. Always start these nuts by hand first. Don't ever do any of this with the impact first. Sorry if that's loud at home. It's really loud here. And sometimes on camera, it's like barely even audible. Sometimes it's really weird. So now we're tight, we're good to go. Take you back down. Move you in here a little bit, get a little better shot. Now we're gonna tighten up our, I guess we'll start with our 12mm that's on the brake hose. And then we'll jump to our 14. And then we'll do our two big 22mm bolts, and then we'll be finished. So right here, so you guys can see what I'm doing. This is the bolt that goes on the brake hose. Don't have to kill that thing. Now we're going to jump up to the 14 millimeter. It goes on the strut. As you can see, once you load it up, right there, it's happy right there. Now I'm going to put the impact on and get it as tight as I can. And then I'll have to switch to the wrench and the Allen head. Okay, I just got lucky there. I pushed over and that kind of pinched the stud, and that allowed it to grab a hold and it tightened it, so I didn't have to use the Allen head on that. Okay, now we have our two big bolts. I'm going to have to move over in front of you guys, so you're going to lose a little bit of vision here, I think. That's number 3 on this impact, and that is no joke. That's it. Those 2 bolts are tight. That is tight. The hose has been tightened up, and we're done. That is all there is to it. All right. All that's left to do is install the tire and take it out for a flame test. Okay, now this is what the ride height looks like after changing these. Look how much wheel gap I have here in the front. This is probably the way it was supposed to look, you know, when it was new. Look at this. It's huge difference. This thing, and I didn't just like lower it down gently on the jack. I've already lowered it down. And I've already cycled to suspension, you know, so it's definitely got a lot more clearance in the front end, which is cool. I care less about it as long as the back comes up. So when I put the ones on the back, let's hope that it looks like that. Hello YouTube, we're back for the rear strut replacement on this 1999 Toyota Camry. Let me zoom you in here so you can see what we're going to put on here. These are the rear struts. This is part number 171680 and 171681. Now here's the difference. This cost me about $100 on Amazon. This one cost me $25. I seen one that said it was used. This is it. See these 2 holes? Apparently, Amazon cannot sell anything with damage to the package and call it new. There's a couple holes here from the strut inside hitting against the cardboard. That is all that's wrong. This strut is in good shape. It's not used. Can you see this? Perfect shape. I bought a Monroe quick strut for my Camry for $25. It is Absolutely no different than the $100 quick strut that I bought. Always look. I've been doing this for almost 2 years now. Anytime I have a project and I need a part, calipers, water pumps, alternators, anything that's heavy in a cardboard box, after a while it'll just knock a hole through the box, and once there's a hole in the box, apparently they can't sell it as new anymore. Like I said, there's no difference between this $25 quick strut and this $100 quick strut. They were both brand new, and we are getting ready to put both of them in my Camry. Okay guys, we have the hubcaps and tires off. I removed them with my 1/2-inch electric impact. Here what I'm going to do is put a little PB blaster on all the hardware that I need to remove. I found this to be very beneficial. And no, I'm not sponsored by PB Blaster at all. It just works. So as soon as I find the bleeder here, I'm gonna jam some on that, because I'm planning on at least replacing my brake fluid as well. Oh yeah, we got her there. Good stuff. So if you're watching, PB Blaster, you know, send my email. Like a hey, I'd appreciate a little help. It would be great. Okay, as much as I didn't think this was going to be an interior video, I thought I'd just pop the back trunk and get to the struts, but that's not the way these work. There's a couple clips here in the back that are right here and here. Also, you need to pull the interior panel. You need to pull this interior panel out from right here. And then you have this, the side of your seat. After you fold your seat down, that's laying right here, to expose all this, I popped up my, I think they call that a package tray, and then I just pushed on this interior piece, and it just lays down. We'll move the seatbelt off to the side. So now, you look inside here, you can see what we got to deal with. I just moved the interior panel down. It's now unhooked, and now we'll get it up here. Right underneath the rear seat belt here, we have our light mounted. Right there, if you can see, we have 1, 2, and 3 nuts. That's where our strut mounts to. So we're gonna change them out. I'll take them nuts off right now, actually. And then I'll work on the other two from the end, well, like from underneath the car. You need a 12mm ratchet to do this job. It's not on the inside, or I should say it's not in the trunk where I thought it would be. It's inside, and you need to rip your entire interior, like your whole back seat out. even the plastic panels, to get into this. And they are a 12mm nut. Well, that's the size the socket is. I'm not the snob that's gonna say that's not 12mm nut. Whatever. You need a 12mm socket to take the nut off. Stop being a jackass. You know? I hate those trolls on the internet. It's not a 12mm nut. It's technically a 6. Like, you're not helping anybody. You know, those guys really piss me off. But whatever, dude. You know, just take your 12mm socket on your 3/8 ratchet, preferably. And the first two will come off easy. The last one, if you're paying attention here, and you can see this, I'm hoping you can still see this. Watch these studs, because as soon as I get this nut out, it's gonna like, this whole thing's gonna drop down out. So, this will probably be the last thing you do. If you heard that, you'll hear the whole assembly dropped out the bottom. So, that's one step done. Now we'll head down below, and if it's like the other side, I believe they were 22mm, we'll let you know. Hello YouTube, and here we are, and I was completely wrong. The front side was bigger than this. I have a 19mm bolt, and there's two of them. One's right here, the other one, follow the end of my wrench, is down here, right here. You can see that. Probably have a better view than I do, actually. So what I'm going to do is get my 1/2 inch impact here on the nut side and buzz these off. So I'm going to have to move you out of the way, because this thing is, it's a behemoth. So we'll move you over here. Get my impact in. Wow, that nut said no, thank you. I do not want to come off. Let me see what the setting is. Yeah, I had it on 2 because I was putting lug nuts back on. Let's see what we got here. Like butter, this Cobalt XRP on 3 is, it's no joke, guys. It's no joke. Put her here on the bottom one, and this should be the last thing. Well, you know what? My eyes just spied. I need to get this brake line off here, and that looks like a 12mm all day. I just cranked on this little 12mm headed screw. Sorry, snobs. It takes a 12mm socket to get this bolt out. Don't even start with me. It's a 12mm. So, look how easy that was. I mean, you can see the threads were dry, but I put my 1/4 inch ratchet on there and put as many ugga-duggas that I could put on it, and it just completely said nope. So anyhow, we're gonna jump to the last big bolt here on the bottom. There she is. Like I said, you can see here. I mean, that's definitely from 1999 or 98. I'm not sure the exact build month on this particular unit, but this stuff has never been apart. So the sad thing is, I'm hoping I get a few years out of these new struts. I wouldn't even ask to get 25 years out of them. It's just not the way things are made anymore. Yeah, I know. All you Gen Ys and millennials are like, what the? He's crazy. Perfect. Okay, guys, we have her out now. This should let her go. Should let her go. I might need a pry bar here. go. My eye spied a 14 millimeter on a rear sway bar. All right, YouTube, I'm not gonna lie. This was not definitely one of the most easiest things I've ever done. It was really on there. So I ended up using my 5 millimeter and my 14 millimeter ratchet wrench, and I put my wrench on there, and then it was like I'd loosen it and then I'd tighten it. I'd loosen it and I kept spraying penetrating fluid on it, and then I'd tighten it up, and I kept brushing the threads that were exposed with my stainless steel brush. And finally, after what seemed like forever, I didn't know if it was going to give up or not, I finally got this cleaned up. Now my front ones, they cooperated. I don't know if they had some, you know, some engine oil or something on them, or what they had on them, but they definitely cooperated a lot better than this guy did. So let's pop that out. And that's all that was holding this strut in here. I'll back you up here a little bit so you can see what's going on. Hopefully you can just pull this out of here. I should have used a big pry bar. This should work. Dang it, not using what you're supposed to use to get stuff done. So there we go. Here's our strut. Just so you can see, the two closer pattern bolts go towards the inside of the car, and there you can see that the rubber was just destroyed on this. So let's get this nice shiny replacement strut, quick strut, put back in. Okay, we're gonna put this back in the same way we got the last one out, by dropping that down in, putting this over here. I'll get these back in place, and then I'll put the bolt in. Perfect. The hardest part's getting the first one to start. Once you get the first bolt start in, you're home free. Perfect. So, like I said before, these take a 19 millimeter socket and wrench to tighten up. These are not slotted in any way, so you'll be able to just use a wrench, a 19 millimeter wrench and a 19 millimeter socket to get these tightened up. I'm not going to show you the other side, that's going to be redundant. So once you get this side in, I'll go up top and show you how to put the top in. Sorry if that's too loud, guys. I'm sure that's not coming off. I don't know what the foot pounds are on that bad boy, but they're many ugga-duggas. So we'll move this in, back up, and yeah, we'll get the jack back underneath this because no, we won't. We'll just show you. We'll put that guy back on. Give her a little juice in hopes that the impact can just put it on without the use of the Allen wrench. I was able to put it on without the Allen wrench on the front, on the one side. And this is not going to be one of them sides, I can see. So we're going to use the 14 millimeter and the Allen wrench. Sometimes life just works this way, you know? And it's okay. This isn't that big a deal. It'll be okay. You'll recover from this. This is easy. That is tight. If you want to go back and just hit it with your impact, okay, it's really tight now. Done deal. Next step's going to be go inside. So I'm going to get my jack and put it underneath this, lift it up inside, so we can put the nuts on the studs on the interior. Okay, everybody, here's a shot up inside where we need to put the strut. So what I need to do, I have one hand on my jack and the other hand I have guiding my strut, and what I need to do is make everything happen at the same time and get my strut to go in its happy home up inside the car, which I just did. It wasn't too bad. I'm gonna go ahead and jack this up. I think we're good there. Not sure what happened here. There's some pressure on it now, so we should be good. The next shot will be inside the interior, tightening it back up. Okay, everybody at home, we have our new strut back in place. There you can see our stud sticking up. Okay, the new studs are a little longer. I had to switch over to a deep well socket, so I did. And then hopefully I can get to, I'm not gonna be able to get to that one with that. I'm gonna have to use a wrench on the back one now. The added length and the length of the stud on the strut is caused me to break out the wrench, because the deep well won't fit underneath the steering, or yeah, the seat belt, and then that's fine because it is in there. Ugga dugga. Okay guys, that is one strut replacement. I will take my gloves off because they're dirty, and I'm going to show you real quick how to throw all this back together. Here's anybody with OCD. I forgot to put this brake line bolt in. My bad, guys. I seen it, I'd forgot it, and I didn't want to I didn't want to let you hanging. I didn't want you twitching back there, guys. Perfect. Just as simple as throwing the tire back on, completing the job. Boy, these little 14-inch wheels and tires, boy, they light. Like I said earlier, I back these off. Perfect. A lot of guys won't even show you tighten up wheels because there's always those torque snobs out there. I'm not a torque snob, but I can assure you that wheel is not coming off. And it's not too tight to get off if you're stranded alongside the road either. There's a difference. That's why I back off the torque on the impact gun. And if you do it differently, good for you. I don't really care. Just get them on there. But there is a specified torque that you should always abide by. Alrighty. I blasted the other side out real quick. Now I'm going to put this plastic piece back in according to, there we go. This one needs to go in underneath, just like such. Perfect. I believe that one goes underneath there. There we go. It's happy now, and there you'll see the two holes are lined up. Once that goes in, then you can put the side of your seat back in place. And then here's our clips for our plastic panel. Yeah, I've done rear struts before. I never had to tear the inside of the car apart. It's kind of weird. Like I said, it's just, I haven't done many, so maybe there are a lot like this. It just seems, it's not very user friendly, but I mean, this car is way past the time that they thought it'd be on the road, so that being said, can't complain about that. It is almost 25 years old. We are. Now, I'll shut you off because I gotta shut my seats. Oh, first we have to get our package tray back down here. Let me move this out of the way quick. And then same way on the other side, I'll get her popped down in there a little better. Hello everybody in YouTube world. We have our interior reinstalled. Got these sail panels back on. The pieces in the back, we're good to go. Here I'll show you the ride height. There you can see it matches the front now. So the last week I drove it with the front done and it looked like it was sagging in the back. I mean, I rocked it, but it was looking a little funny. 1999. It has 180,000, like 185 on it. It's not doing too bad other than the clears going on the hood. It's also going up here on the roof and the trunk. As you can see, it's seen better days there. I'm thinking about painting it. There's a bunch of small hail dings all over the trunk, the roof, and the hood. So I probably have 50, 75 dents I'd have to fill in before I painted it. And I really don't know if I feel like doing that. So I'm just hoping at this point that the three struts I put on actually fix the issue I had. This vehicle was all over the road, especially on the interstates. When you got in the windy conditions, it wasn't like white knuckle, but you had to pay attention to what was going on, especially in between trucks and shifts in wind. And I thought, well, I'll just put new struts on. I mean, they can't be in that great shape after 25 years. And it just seemed like you just feel like you're driving a cloud, like the guy on Super Mario Brothers, like that turtle, whatever that is, that has the, you get what I'm saying. It was just like a cloud. There was no feeling to the road, no steering. I mean, steering response, I mean, it just, you weren't connected to the road. Very comfortable ride, but very little input from the driver. And like I said, a lot of body roll. So I'm hoping this stiffens up everything. The next thing I'll look into is possibly the anti-sway bars, getting new bushings for them. The end links that go from the sway bar up to the struts seem fine. Nothing there was excessively loose, but that's really all I have. And if that's it, and that doesn't really make it any better, well, I guess I'll just have to realize I'm driving a 25-year-old Camry, and it's not going to handle like a, you know, maybe it's never going to handle like I think it should. So we'll see, but it's definitely a comfortable car, definitely good on gas, and I'm hoping it lasts me another 100,000 miles. So please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time on Man Mike's Garage.